one more Super Bowl in him. I don't think it's this year, but it'll be sometime. But one of the things when I get close, because I do think Aaron and Drew Brees are close, one of the things I really think about, and I've said this time and time again, I'm not impressed if you. So in a tiebreaker, basically, Aaron Rodgers inherited the 1990 Lakers. Drew Brees inherited the 1980 Clippers. That's a thing. So often, because, I know you millennials think that, the Saints are just a great franchise. You're just absolutely convinced the Saints are a great franchise. Before Drew Brees got there, their best player ever was Deuce McAllister, Archie Manning, who's the third best Manning ever at quarterback. A wonderful guy, but Joe Horn? Nice players. Deuce McAllister's a heck of a player. Joe Horn, Archie Manning. You got to remember, Drew Brees saved the. They were Cleveland in a dome. They were a laughing stock. They could have lost the franchise.
You can't just be banging on millennials all the time, Colin.
I like millennials, but sometimes they forget.
Wait. Let's move on to the younger generation. I'm like technically old. I'm 31. I'm a millennial.
I like most things about you.
Just not that I'm a millennial. Yeah. I agree with you, though. I actually think that Drew Brees is undervalued. He's just never spoke about it. Maybe it's because of his demeanor. He's just a humble guy, and like you said, the Saints are an organization that's not in a huge market.
His prime was Manning's prime and Brady's prime.
Yeah.
And again,
and now Aaron Rodgers.
Here's the 8 best quarterbacks I've seen play. Now, by the way, Dan Fouts and Aaron Rodgers and Steve Young did not make the list. They were all unbelievable. But I go to production. Fouts didn't have the big wins necessary. And so again, Steve Young and Aaron Rodgers and Dan Fouts did not make this list. It was inches, not feet.
Does that say Peyton Manning above?
No, I didn't put it in order. I just said Peyton, Brady, Montana. Like people say Bradshaw. Okay. Bradshaw was a monster for a decade. Big wins, production, did it forever, played hurt. Again, Marino, how do you have Marino in there? Because his production was so great, and he did it for so many years that I would probably put him closer to 8 than I would 1 because he doesn't have as many big wins. Now, he won his division a lot, and he won playoff games. But
he never won a Super Bowl.
He never won a Super Bowl. But he won a lot of big games. Dan won his division. Division, it's like in college. If you win the SEC and don't win the national championship, that's still that's a real legitimate banner. That's a prize. Winning the Big Ten is a prize. You don't have to just win the national championship. So Marino had a lot of wins. And it was a good division, and Marino was great. He won playoff games, but he didn't win the big one, so I'd knock him a little. But, yeah, Brees is I just think he's remarkable. He's you're great when they compare young, great players to you, and that's what we do. Everybody's like, oh, he's the next Drew Brees. Well, that's pretty good. They only do that for about 7 quarterbacks. You only ever hear he's the next blank.
You really never hear he's the next Aaron Rodgers.
Not Mahomes, but even Mahomes, you don't even see Aaron Rodgers.
But he's getting compared more to Brett Favre.
Yes. And here's the other thing. The quarterback that in Green Bay that resurrected the franchise was the quarterback before Aaron Rodgers. That was Brett Favre. The Packers were a dumpster fire. And then Favre resurrected the franchise and then handed the baton to Aaron. I'm not blaming Aaron, but that's the reality. Brees resurrected the franchise. He had to do what Favre did. I don't think people remember, young people remember just how bad the Saints were. They were Cleveland. Cleveland's so bad, they've been kind of pathetic. Like the Saints were so bad, they were a punchline on late night shows. They were pathetic. They were the Clippers in the NBA. But when you can go and resurrect the Clippers, that's a lot harder than joining the Lakers. Nothing against Kobe, but when you join the Lakers and you had Jerry West and you got the Phil Jacksons and here comes Shaq and that's a lot easier than resurrecting the Clippers or the New Orleans Saints. So there you go. Greg Cosell, top of next hour, is going to join us. It's the NFL meat sandwich. NFL game tonight, Colts, Patriots. Talk about that. Don't be the guy in the room with the long, sloppy-looking Untuck shirt. Go to untuckit.com. They have their fall and winter styles in right now. Go to untuckit.com. GQ calls them perfection. Untuckit.com, code HERD for 20% off all purchases. Yeah, Colts, Patriots tonight. I like New England in a rout. And Greg Cosell around the corner. And Nick Saban is wildly underpaid, and I know that drives NCAA bashers crazy, but he is. I'll prove it. Hour 2 coming up.